All right. All right. So give me listen, give me like a basically how we usually end up starting this scenario is pretty much give me what your day-to-day life sort of goes through right now.
Well, normally my day kind of starts around like 11 or 12.
Okay.
So, a lot of times.
So I'm pushing you back. I'm making you go earlier today. You should have
said
that.
Online tutoring, I've been a little bit earlier anyways.
Okay.
But yeah, usually like 11 or 12 is kind of when my day really gets started. I start at the center at 12:30.
Okay.
So most days I'm like getting ready for work around 11 o'clock,
Okay.
which means most days I get out of bed about 10:45.
Okay.
I'm not one to take much time before getting to work to get ready. So I wake up pretty late in the morning, and then I head to work, and I'm at work from 12:30 until usually about 9 or 10. With all of this going on, my day looks a little bit different, where depending on what meetings I have and things like that, my day will start anywhere from about 10 o'clock until 12 o'clock. And then my day runs until 7:30, and then I'm done exactly at 7:30 with all of this.
Okay.
But when I'm in the center, from about 12:30 until 3:30, I'm doing paperwork, just kind of there by myself.
Okay.
That's usually when I eat lunch, is like during that time frame. I would say usually within like the first hour of getting to work, I eat lunch.
Okay. Is that so you don't really wake up, do you eat breakfast at home then?
No, I've always been really bad about eating breakfast.
So your lunch is pretty much your breakfast?
Yes.
Okay.
Honestly, my lunch is probably the one like main meal I eat during the day.
Okay.
So I'll eat that. Normally, when I'm at work, it's usually some sort of like delivery. So what was most common for a long time was like Noodles and Company. Yeah, I would say pretty much Noodles and Company was kind of my go-to for lunch. I did.
What do you get?
I get mac and cheese.
Okay.
But I have celiacs, so I would get their gluten-free mac and cheese. They, at the last, like, I would say 2 months, maybe month before all this happened, I started getting Buddy's pizza salads every day. Okay. So I felt a little bit better about that choice than the Noodles and Company every single day.
Right.
And then once a week, I would do hibachi. So about once a week, every Thursday, I would stop and get hibachi for lunch on my way to work. Then I would, from about 3:30 until 7:30, I have sessions at work. And then, so with sessions, I'm usually pretty busy running around in the classroom, things like that. So I don't really eat at all in there. And then I leave work around 9 or 10. Occasionally, I'll have something to eat between that 9 and 10 time frame. But then what I'll do is I usually come home from work, and my parents will make dinner. But I don't always eat what they made for dinner. A lot of times what I would end up doing is just having like a can of soup for dinner.
Okay.
And usually at that point it's just like, and this sounds ridiculous because it's not like I cooked the dinner or anything, but at that point when I get home from work and it's so late, I'm just so exhausted that I don't want to deal with like eating real food. I'm just like, I'll eat soup, it's fine.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's kind of how it's gone even during quarantine. Like a lot less takeout, which is the good thing. But the bad thing is that I'm still kind of following the same, not eating breakfast, not really eating dinner, kind of only eating lunch. I would say I think it's gotten worse with quarantine though, because I don't even really eat a real lunch. So I go most of the day without really eating anything. And then when I am snacking, it's not like healthy snacking. It's like candy or stuff like that.
Do you say like you snack throughout the day? Like, are you aware of how much, or you just know that you like randomly snack and stuff like that?
I snack a lot more on the weekends. When I am working, I get like hyper focused in my work. And so 12 hours could pass before I realize that I haven't eaten at all. Usually I don't realize I haven't eaten until like I'm on the phone with somebody and I get a headache and I'm like, oh wait, that's because I haven't eaten at all today.
Right.
My biggest downfall besides the not eating regularly, I would say, is my sugar intake. I like sugar and I'm really bad about it. Pop is one of my biggest ones.
Okay.
And then candy is the other one.
So now with that, describe that. Like, do you have pop throughout the day? Do you like have like candy throughout the day, stuff like that?
For the pop, it's usually that's throughout the day. It really depends on my stress level of how much I actually drink. Some days I could take a bottle of pop and make it last through the entire day. And then other days when I'm more stressed out, I could go through 2 or 3 a day.
All right. So now, is there a reason why you have like, because you said you have it throughout the day, so it's not just at your meals when you're like just having a meal, or you're having that. It's like throughout the day. So that's like when you have a stressful like moment at work, you go for pop.
Yeah, that's kind of my comfort is the pop, and then the sugar is like secondary to. Yeah. For candy's a lot less of like a daytime thing. I don't keep candy around me during the day, but it normally is like in the evenings where I tend to have a lot more candy.
Because you're not focused on work.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. What are your go-tos?
Usually it is M&Ms. So I need like chocolate type of candy. And then Starburst.
Do you eat it out of the bag, or do you is like you just like it's just?
Yeah, it's usually out of the bag.
Okay. All right. I only ask. I'm a sugar fanatic as well, and so like when I don't really stress that much, but when I do stress, I notice that like immediately I'll go like I'll like go for that. I'll have to catch myself, but like that's usually my go-to. My go-to is always red vine licorice. Yeah, or anything chocolate. But in reality, it's whatever's around me.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, so on a day-to-day, like how like so you're tutoring, so it's mostly online. So describe your activity during the day. You're usually like sitting down because it's more virtual right now. Like what about your like stress level?
So I'm definitely sitting down a lot. I'm working out of my basement, so when I do have to go like to do anything, I'm kind of up and down the stairs regularly. The stress level with this It's very strange because there's a lot of things that I would do in my normal day-to-day life that I can't do during all of this. Like my normal day at work would be a lot of meetings and testing and things like that for new students. And with this, I'm not doing any of it. So I'm just kind of focused on like what's going on with tutoring. And so the change in routine has stressed me out. And then every time we get close to the end of the month, we do an automatic payment on the first of the month. And so as we get closer to the end of the month, I get more and more stressed out about like the payments going through and families calling me and being upset about things with payments. And like, especially right now, like today, I'll spend the entire day tracking down families that haven't answered me about whether or not they're paying this month.
Right.
So it's definitely like this time of month is most stressful for me. But when I'm actually tutoring, a lot of times I'm either sitting there in front of the screen working with a student, or I'm just kind of waiting for time to pass because I can't go anywhere when online tutoring's going on because I'm hosting it. So I'm responsible for making sure announcements go out and making sure students like get to their classrooms.
Yeah.
So I can't actually go and do anything. But a lot of times I'm just staring at the screen for like 10-minute intervals, being like, is this one over yet? Can I be done? So I try to get up and move a lot more, especially because my setup in my basement is very, I'm sitting on an ottoman because the only place I can get a like blank background behind me is when I sit on this ottoman. Like this is actually not too bad and I'm sitting on my couch. But for a normal session, I'm on an ottoman, which is terribly uncomfortable and always causes me to be sore and in pain afterwards because it's not meant for sitting on it. So I've been trying to get up and move as much as I can during that time. But honestly, I just kind of sit in front of the computer for 4 hours straight.
All right. And get up and move, is it just random or do you have like a schedule or a timer or something like that? Anything to hold you accountable?
Yes, I do get up. We have announcements that I send out every like 20 minutes on on Zoom so that everybody knows like the time and can monitor themselves. Right. And so after I send out that notification, I'll usually get up, walk around a little bit. I'll do like wall sits, things like that to just try to have something going on. I also get really bored as I'm sitting there. So I tend to pace a lot as sessions are going on. So yeah, it's every time I send out one of those messages, I get up and move for like the 12 or 20 minutes after that.
Do you track your steps at all throughout the day?
I don't very much. I'll occasionally, like if I actually went out and did something, I'll track them. But my phone is what tracks my movement. And I'm terrible about remembering to have my phone on me. So it never accurately tracks it. However, if I go for like a walk or something like that, a lot of times I'll check it to see how far I went and all that. But like my boyfriend makes fun of me because I'll leave the house to go like to the store or something. And I'll come back and I'll be like, did you forget something? Because I just will leave my phone at home and have no idea that it was there. It's that bad. And his daughter's always like, do you have your phone? As we're in the middle of the store. And I'm like, no, I don't think I do. Every single time.
All right. So, what about training wise? Obviously it's all like virtual, but we can talk about like beforehand as well. Like, do you ever take time to work out or get like a 20-minute workout or anything like that?
Yeah, so I definitely do it on Tuesdays. I've talked to Cam a little bit about that because I brag on Tuesday mornings, and so after brag, I'll take the time to do a workout.
Okay.
I
what time? Sorry, what time is your brag workout or your brag meeting?
8.
Okay.
So ours runs at the same time as yours does.
Okay. Okay.
So usually about 9:00. Like on last Tuesday, I followed along with the live workout that you had going on.
Okay.
So I usually try to do something like that. That's my big workout for the week. I've done, depending on how my day goes, is really how working out goes. If my day hasn't been too bad, then I'll work out for about 20 minutes after
Okay.
that. If it's been like a rough day, I try to do some yoga at the end of it, but I'm not as consistent with all that as I would like to be.
So what's stopping you? I mean, I think I know the answer, but what's stopping you from making that 9 a.m. thing a thing that you do more than just one day?
It's because I don't sleep at night.
Okay.
So,
And you're up for brag, so it's already there.
yeah, on Tuesday, since I'm already up, it's easier to just stay up. I think it's tough when I wake up at 9 a.m. to work out in my house. When I'm
Right.
waking up early to go to the gym, that's a different story because I'm getting up to actually go somewhere.
Right.
But to get up and then come downstairs or into the living room to work out, it's like I wake up and I kind of look at my clock and go, I didn't really sleep last night. I'm just going to go back to bed.
Yeah.
Because I consistently, I would say my normal like amount of time that I sleep is probably about 4 hours a night.
Okay.
And
Now, are you a restless sleeper, or you have a hard time going to bed?
both.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have a very hard time falling asleep. A lot of times it's 3 or 4 in the morning before I actually fall asleep.
What time do you try to go to bed?
I try to go to bed around 11 or 12.
Okay.
And then it's hard for me to wake up in the morning. I do have pretty bad depression and anxiety. So those tend to add to that not sleeping and not wanting to wake up and things like that. Which unfortunately, so that adds to it, but then my depression and anxiety get better when I'm working out. So it's kind of a tough, like I have to convince myself I'll feel better once I start doing this.
Mm-hmm.
But then I would say afterwards, like after work, the reason that I don't always consistently work out is probably because I'm not eating throughout the day. So by the time the end of the day comes around and it's 8:00 at night, I'm like, I don't feel good.
Right.
I have a headache and I don't want to do this.
For sure. That I 100% agree with that. Okay. All right. So that's what's happening right now. Can give me your diet history? Like, what have you tried before? What worked? What didn't work? Stuff like that.
So when I was in college, I've noticed, so one of the things I noticed is that my weight fluctuations, they tend to happen as I leave a job or start a new job. So when I was in college, my two main like weight gains occurred, one in college and then one right after college. One in college, I had left my job and was unemployed for a couple of months. And then the one after college, it was actually almost the exact same thing. I had been working at a psych hospital, decided I didn't want to do it anymore, left and was unemployed for a couple of months. And just the lack of movement caused, and like eating more caused the weight gain. In college, the success, I would say the things that stand out as success and failure both happened in college. When I was successful, I had started working with a trainer, was kind of changed my diet, started eating regular meals. It helped that I was working at a daycare, so the daycare had regular meals that they were serving, 2 meals a day. And so I would eat along with the kids, and that helped regulate it. I would bring my own food, but I would eat while the kids were eating. And with that, I was able to like eat healthy enough and eat well enough that I actually at a couple of points like fully cut out sugar for like 6 months. And I think that structure is really what helped. What didn't help is I've used several like of the apps that are monitoring like what you're eating, and I've tried using several of those, and what those end up doing is I discovered they create like an obsession with what I'm eating, and then the guilt over what I'm eating, and like borderline on eating disorder with how much I'm restricting what I'm eating. And especially for me, where I'm already not eating most meals a day. There was one point where I think I was getting like 800 calories a day, and very minimal amount of food because I was so obsessed with it. So I've learned like those types of apps don't really work for me.
I had a feeling you were going to start saying that just because you said that you have a lot of anxiety. And so like immediately when you said those apps, I figured that's what you were going to say. So, which is good that you know that, because proper nutrition is like most diets, again, apps like tracking macros, stuff like that. Those are skills and those are tools. You know, it's a tool in your toolbox, and it helps, at first to just know where you're at. Like if you don't have zero education on the matter, if you've never done it before, those are helpful because it gives you knowledge of how, like, what is good, what's a good size portion, how much should I have, stuff like that. But like diets and like fad diet, like programs, most of them, they force you to fit the mold. And if you don't fit the mold, then you view yourself as a failure. So it's good that you sort of recognized that even though like you tried using it, like they caused something else that now hindered something else. And so that's good. So it wouldn't be like, okay, you have to use one of those apps. It would be you have to focus on something else. Now at some point you still have to focus, but there's different ways to go around it. And that's what turns into like creating better habits. All right. And okay. So last thing. All right. What would be your overall, what's your overall goal? Just overall in general, or just straight up right now?
I think overall in general. So I've mentioned before, my boyfriend and I, we have 3 kids. And so right now, the kind of lifestyle that they have is fast food and not really being active at all. And so like anytime we have them for the weekend, it's like, let's have pizza, let's have fast food, and then not really doing a ton besides them sitting there watching TV and playing video games, which at 11, they love that. They love that they can sit there and just play video games all day. But I want to lead by example with it. I want the foods and the meals that we make to be healthy. I want to be at a healthier weight and more active, to just kind of lead them by example. And my boyfriend and I kind of constantly say, and we keep saying with like the house, he's like, well, we're going to be healthier and we're going to do this. And what I've learned from past experiences is that's what I've said in the past with moving houses is, well, we're going to move and we'll cook all the time and we'll be healthier. And the reality is once we move, if there's not something that I'm actively changing, simply moving houses doesn't change what those habits already were, because it doesn't matter if I'm in Fraser or St. Clair Shores, there's fast food. We're going to be able to order pizza and all that type of stuff. So I really want the change to start with me so that it can trickle down to him and the kids.
All right. So, all right. And then one last, again, that's good. Just again, just same thing with you realizing that the apps cause you like anxiety. Same thing with the habits. Like the situation doesn't change. You always fall back on the habits that you already have. Like that's what's going to happen. Like for me, snacking on candy and like stuff like that, that's my biggest downfall. Well, when I am working, I'm either at the gym. If I'm not at the gym, and again, I get there early in the morning and I don't come home, there's nothing there for like to snack on just because I don't allow it there. And then when I'm not there, I'm coaching volleyball. So by like I get to the gym at like, 5:00 and I don't get home until like 9:30. And so all my meals and stuff like that, I have that game plan. But when I'm like home, it's, I don't have to snack when I'm on my own way. But if I'm home, it's like no holds barred and all that stuff. And so like right now I've had to like acknowledge it a lot more and keep it in tabs. Before I was able to keep it tabs just because the environment changed, so but like you always go back to the habits that you have. So, all right. So here, one last thing. When you snack and, drink pop, stuff like that, describe those situations. You said it was a lot of times at home. Are you in the kitchen or in front of the TV, stuff like that?
It usually happens at night, like, and I think what I've kind of tracked and figured out is that what happens is I go to bed or I get close to that time of going to bed. And because I haven't eaten through most of the day, my blood sugar drops so low that my body is like seeking out the fastest source of sugar. And so it'll be like shortly after I finally fall asleep, I'll wake back up because I need to eat something. And that's where I naturally go. So it's usually in the evenings or at night where I'm seeking out like the candy and that type of stuff. So it's not quite as much. I don't really snack in front of the TV very much. I don't really snack like just throughout the day. It's really that like evening. But that makes it harder because then I'm not really tracking like how much am I eating when I'm half asleep.
Yep, absolutely. Okay. All right. Here, so a couple scenarios. I think the biggest thing, and you already mentioned it before with your past success, is you don't have a plan outside of work because that is already set. Yeah. Work is one of the things that's the easiest thing to plan because you have to do it. You have times to work and stuff like that. Right now, like there is no plan. There is no routine. And so you're just sort of being very reactive.
Exactly.
And you already mentioned that when you had success, that's what caused the success is you had a plan. Even if it was, eating with those kids at that certain time, that was the time to do it. And so you did it. Right now, you don't have that. Yeah. I think that if you do that, that's the best that would like easily fix a lot of the problems. Just because now all of a sudden that the snacking at night, feeling like crap, stuff like that will be the biggest thing. And honestly, that's usually the thing that most people don't have. People are very, very busy. They're not really productive. And so having a set routine will be good. Here's what another thing too, that again, it might end up helping with the sleeping is, do you know what a brain dump is or a mind dump?
Yes.
Basically just journaling and just writing shit down. All right. So what I would do is I would sort of have both of those things as a set routine. Okay. I would say try to plan 3 meals. Okay. It doesn't matter when it is, but plan them, and again, it could easily be, I'm going to have this salad. I'm still going to order out for lunch. Now, to keep in mind my meals. Okay, I make one meal out of my entire day. Even when I was like prepping and stuff like that, I don't like meal prepping. I don't like I it's pure convenience. Like I look like literally, and I hate tracking. I hate measuring. But I did it. It didn't cause me anxiety, but I did it to just have that game plan. And once I had it, I was good. I can okay, I'm rolling. One of those things. And so what I ended up doing is, okay, well, the only thing I make is at home. Why? Because that's the only time I'm home. It's the only time I have, like, everything else. I'm going to go get a salad. I'm going to go get some Greek yogurt from Kroger. I'm going to put some raspberries in. Like, that's my meal plan is I just go get stuff. All right. So what I would do is, and you can do this at night. That's the thing, and I would try to plan 3 meals. And again, I would shoot for having a protein source at each one and veggies. All right. That's a 100% what should be the game plan. All right. If you do that, you can work around that. You can sort of adjust. Do you still feel like crap? At night. That would be huge. Plan at the very least 3 meals. Actually have them planned: protein, veggie source. I would also include the plan as planning 3 workouts a week. All right. You have one with the Tuesday. Now, if you can't make that a routine, still have another day. Hey, I'm going to work out at this time. Why? Because I have an easy time. Now keep in mind, this could easily be the Tuesday and then Saturday and Sunday because you're not working. It could easily be that. All right. So just straight up 3 workouts. All right. Have that plan. And then last, I would journal before you go to bed. Okay. It can be like if you're feeling anxiety, write the shit down. Give yourself a brain dump. And again, you could easily plan all this stuff out in that. Like right before you go to bed, I'm going to plan my next day. And obviously it's going to be around your work, but that's what you're doing. If you have that, you can add to that structure. Your biggest thing is just straight up just structure. You already said that you've done it before. And I mean, clearly, like, don't use apps because it's going to cause you more anxiety and more stress. And that equals feeling like crap. And you're just going to start drinking a whole bunch of pop anyway, and so like that, which you don't want, and so it's going to be just straight up find a time to plan. All right. So the process is to learn different habits to make it a thing. Okay. There's the cue, there's the action, and then there's the reward. All right. So we're going to just straight up plan. We already know what we're planning. 3 meals, three workouts. There doesn't have to be anything of, hey, this is how much. We're not tracking macros. We're just, and the workouts can literally be 20-minute workouts. It can be the live workouts. I'm just going to put that in there and I'm just going to do it. Even if it's not effective, you just do it. For that 20 to 30 minutes. All right. When would you be able to do this? To do this? When do you think?
I mean, I can probably start it today. I have, I would say most effective would probably be tomorrow, but I don't like saying tomorrow because what happens is when I say I'll start it tomorrow, then
say it again. Well, that's why we're getting specific. What time? What time would be the best time for you to plan, like, for the next day? So, like, for instance, a lot of times people do it right before they go to bed. They plan. Sometime, like, so, like, for me, I would put if I'm trying to learn how much I should eat, like getting a little bit more specific, you can put it in the day before, and then you just see how the day goes. After, like, sometimes I wouldn't do that, and I would put it in the morning. Like, I would always go to Chipotle for lunch. That would be my biggest meal, but that was my meal.
Mm-hmm.
I would literally put in my day while I'm eating Chipotle, and I'm just doing this like for my meals. It doesn't matter as long as you're actually putting in a plan. Okay?
Yeah, I would say
So
probably tonight at like 9 o'clock would be when I would do that.
What are you doing beforehand? Like what's the last thing you do before you're going to do that?
I chat with Jason for about a half hour after work, and then I eat dinner.
Okay, so it's after you eat dinner.
Yeah.
Okay, so after you eat dinner is the cue. Okay, the action is you're going to plan your day. And again, this can be written down in a journal. Don't really care. Okay, you're just writing it down. The reward, what I would like you to try to do, is going to be have a calendar. You can put it on your phone. You can just have it like in your room, on the fridge, or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime you plan, and we know what our plan is, anytime you plan, put an X on the calendar. Okay, that's it. Once you do that, again, basically, like, it gives us a sense of satisfaction. Dopamine goes in our brain, and hey, we now have a reward because we just did it.
Mm-hmm.
You start doing that, now all of a sudden you look at the calendar, and you have, one here, one here, one here, but now you have more than what you did before.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden it's gonna be like, hey, can I get 2 in a row? Hey, can I get 3 in a row?
Mm-hmm.
Now all of a sudden you have a routine, a basic foundation of 3 meals, 3 workouts, and now we can add to that. Yeah. Now all of a sudden it's looking at the meal plan template that's in our Facebook group, all that crap that's in there.
Mm-hmm.
Now since like, okay, well, how far, like, I added this, now what else can I add? Oh, I can add a protein shake here. Okay, sweet. Now you're making it better. Now you feel like less crap, and now maybe you can add a different workout and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You specifically need just straight up a routine.
Yeah.
That's all it is. But that's what we're gonna do. All right. So eat at dinner. Around that 9 o'clock time, we're going to plan out our next day, and then we're gonna write an X or just give ourselves some sort of reward or anything like that. And then now all of a sudden, boom. Now that we're shooting for, what would be a bare minimum of days that you would allow yourself to plan?
I think 3.
I was just gonna say that because we said 3 anyway for everything.
Yeah, if 3 is the number for working out, it probably makes sense that would be the number for.
Okay, so that's bare minimum. You can always go higher, but that is bare minimum. Okay, and the important thing to realize is we didn't talk about barely anything about nutrition.
Yeah.
All right, it's straight up just getting a routine, and that's the basic foundation of anything. Everything else can be thrown in that and added. Right now, it's just how do you get that routine?
Yeah.
Questions?
Nope.
I would also, you can either at the end of the week post how many, like if you succeeded in this.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of times in our like challenges and stuff like that, we always do check-ins. I would just straight up do that. Let me know, let everyone know in the group, be like, hey, you know what? I got my 3, or hey, you know what? I went higher and I got 4, one of those things. And just straight up start doing that. After the plan, if you have more stuff on your mind, I would just give that brain dump too. And that would be a little added thing too.
Okay.
Questions?
No.
I think that's a sweet, like really, really good. You're aware of a lot of things that work and doesn't work for you, which is good. Most people aren't there. The biggest thing is just going to be just, let's take a step back. We're aware of everything now. And now let's just create a routine, and then we just go from there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, sweetness. Let me know how it goes. Again, post it in the group so we can see, and I can give it any type of feedback.
All right, perfect.
All right, sweet. See ya.
Bye.